GM, I'm good. I'm good. How are you? I woke up like 30 minutes ago.
Same with me. I'm feeling refreshed.
That's always good to hear. I'm just gonna put on some music while we're waiting and just get this kind of like circulating. So I don't know if you guys like Drake, but that's what we're gonna be listening to.
Anything Canadian is good with me.
Yeah, life. Life is the only thing we need. They need me to go, but I don't want to leave. Rest in peace, little kid. Fuck a pigeonhole, I'm a night owl, it's a different mode. I'ma have to make a paint of six on a pinky toe. Heard you with a shooting guard, just let a nigga know. I would have you court side, not the middle row. All good love in a minute though. I can't stress about no bitch cause I'm a timid soul. Plus I'm cooking up ambition on the kitchen stove. Pot start to bubble, see the suds, that shit good to go. Whole sound suave, but I can't get me cold. Bro, think he John Wayne. I bought them yellow stones, love the way they hang, babe. For the silicone, everybody fake now. You could crack the code, bust down everything. Set in rose gold, dread talking to you niggas like I'm J. Cole. I could tell her head good before I even know. Bitch, don't tell me that you model if you ain't been in Vogue. Gotta throw a party for my day ones. They ain't in the studio, but they'll lay some. Rest in peace to Drama King. We was straight stunned. Y'all don't like the way I talk. Niggas say something. Gotta throw a party for my day ones. Pull up and you know it's us, the bass jump. Y'all don't like the way I talk to say something. My face, nigga. Gotta throw a party for my day ones. They ain't in the studio, but they'll lay some. Rest in peace to Drama King. We was straight stunned. If I let my nigga 21 tell it, you a pussy. Spin a block twice like it ain't no welcome park. At the backside.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed a little bit of Drake there. Not sure if that's everybody's vibe, but that's what we're listening to this morning or this evening, I guess, wherever you guys are. B Squared Network. Hello, hello, and welcome. We're so grateful to have you join us today. How are you doing? I'll take that as you guys are absolutely doing amazing. Um, Yeah, so I guess if everybody could please, please, please do us all a favor. If you could retweet this space so we could get as much reach as possible, as always, that would be absolutely fantastic. We would appreciate it so, so much. This is going to be an interesting AMA. We're actually going to just to let you guys know, Yago will not be joining today. Devrel will be not joining today. David, it's just going to be Andrew and I hosting this, so it is going to be a relatively non-technical AMA. But thank you all so much for being here today. It's always nice to see all your lovely faces, all the familiar faces over here. Soul Geek, hello, welcome, welcome. John, welcome. Web3 Descendant, congrats on 800 mil. Jason, good to see you, our newest moderator. Welcome, welcome to the team. Blockchain money. Love your love how you break down pretty much every single space, my friend. You've been doing that since I've met you. He literally just like breaks down pretty much every space that happens. He'll just like write an entire summary like afterwards, and it's just so beneficial. Bleak Coin, good to see you. I see you in our AMAs and community calls often. Tazik, good to see you, my friend. Morphane, TWM, Lucas, Tazli, Salem, good to see you guys. B Squared Network, you have been rugging, my friend. Are you all good now?
Yes, we're good to go now. Let's get started.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, how are you doing? And if who are we speaking to today?
Yeah, so I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. So, name is Phoenix. So, I'm the head of BD at Bitcoin Network at North America. So, very excited to join this fantastic Twitter space. So, yeah, let's get things started.
Amazing, amazing. We're very, very happy to have you, and thank you for joining on a it was kind of like a last minute notice, so we really appreciate that. Guys, like I said previously, like this is going to be pretty much like a non-technical AMA. We're going to pretty much just talk about Bitcoin ecosystem. Maybe talk a little, it's obviously talk a little bit about Boss, talk a little bit about B Square, a little bit about our partnership on a more like ecosystem level. So once again, guys, if you could please, please, please just retweet the space and show us some love, that would be much, much appreciated. But let's get started. Phoenix, do you mind just give us a little introduction about B Square? What is it that you guys are doing, and how are you guys, how are you guys contributing to the Bitcoin ecosystem?
Yeah, so sure. We're happy to answer that question. So, for those of first of all, thanks for all the audience tuning in, and then for those of you guys who are not familiar with B Square, so B Square Network is basically like a Bitcoin layer two. So if you're familiar with the idea of layer two on Ethereum, so it's kind of similar, but except it's built on Bitcoin. So then the idea of building B Square Network actually originated from like a little bit over a year and a half ago. So we've seen that there's like recent trend about so the ordinals, and then there's like there's gonna be a huge congestion about the network, and then we're sure that Bitcoin is still in its pretty early stages, and then so we're sure that so in order to fully embrace the full blossom of the Bitcoin ecosystem, so we need to scale up Bitcoin. So that's why we build the layer two network on top of Bitcoin. So then, fast forward a little bit. So we launched our mainnet around last April. So ever since the mainnet launch, so we've seen over 100 million transactions, and then we also have over like 3 million wallet addresses on our chain. So and then the chain itself is like is really stable, and then it's just super fast and super cheap. And then for our if you clicking our Bisco Network official Twitter handle, we also have around a little bit 500,000 followers for our X account. So yeah, it's a pretty amazing community. So and then so we know that with the Trump organization and the stuff going on, so we know that Bitcoin is gonna be the future of money. So we're just trying our best to try to scale up Bitcoin and then prepare Bitcoin for the true mass adoption. So yeah, be very very happy to collaborating with BitcoinOS as well. So yeah, so again, thanks for having me.
Of course, thank you. And Andrew, your hand is up, so go ahead.
Yeah, so hi B squared. Just to introduce myself, I'm the senior content manager over at Boss, otherwise known as the Bard of BitcoinOS. It's very good to be speaking with you today. And I wanted to ask a bit about what you guys think makes your layer two special compared to many of the other layer twos. So B squared was one of the early partners for Boss, and I think it's a special one because I think it has a very tight and intricate connection to Bitcoin that maybe some of the other layer twos don't. So there's, say, dozens of new Bitcoin L2s launching today. But I thought of B squared as one of the most pure play, sort of like truest layer two connections to Bitcoin, in the truest sense of the word, that uh, that is kind of launching today. So, do you think you could expand on that? In what ways are you guys like really tethered into Bitcoin and kind of inheriting the properties of the L1?
Yeah, sure. um, First of all, thanks for putting up with the good work, Andrew. So yeah, and then I think to answer the question, so our what distinguishes us from other layer twos in the space is that first of all, we're actually one of the earliest Bitcoin layer twos to launch the mainnet. So we actually launched our testnet around last February, so like a little bit a year from now. So at that time, the idea of Bitcoin layer twos is just being spreading from the east to the west. So not like today. So we everybody speak about Bitcoin layer two. So we know that there's like dozens of new layer twos coming out every day. So first of all, we're like one of the first layer two being launched in the space, and then secondly, so we are like very intricate, connected to Bitcoin or Bitcoin native layer twos is because not only we build our own B squared network, the roll up layer or the layer two, it's a modular design. So we also build our own DA layer. So through this layer, there's DA layers called B square hub. So we're able to verify all the informations, transactions happening on the layer two, and then those information will be verified and written on top of the bitcoins as BRC20s. So this part is our ingenious and our own design. So we are making sure that it's a Bitcoin layer two. It will achieve a finality on Bitcoin, not like some other side chains, right? So that's one of our technical features, which I won't dive too deep on that because it's gonna take another Twitter space of time to explain all that. But yeah, so again, so that's from the technical side, and then also from the other side, from we're aiming for. So if you look at the demographic of our users, so actually we have a lot of retail users, not like if you're familiar with other layer twos. So maybe majority of the TVLs being contributed to layer twos are coming from the whales, right? But so we're really focusing on the retail users, and then just developing a very good relationship between the with the communities. Yeah, so we think the Bitcoin is still is I think Web3 or crypto is still in pretty early stages. So we're really just putting kind of like blindfolded and then putting our head down and just really building and then building on the infrastructures and then yeah just and also the technical side is also one of our strengths for our team. So yeah, so to sum up, so Bitcoin Network is a technical focus team, and then one of the earliest Bitcoin layer twos, and also we're focusing on the retail users.
That's fantastic, guys. What you just said about inheriting security from the L1, I think that's one of the things that makes B squared particularly special in conjunction with a couple of other things. So at Boss, we have this idea of there being many L2s in the kind of loose sense of the word, but then there's a special category that we call true L2s. And so a true L2 in our mind ticks off three boxes. And the three boxes are you use Bitcoin to pay gas fees, you have a trustless connection for Bitcoin bridging between the L1 and the L2, and you inherit Bitcoin L1 security. And I think B squared is one of the rare networks, and uniquely one of our partners that ticks all three of those boxes. And so, in some sense, you can think of B squared as not just an L2, but a true L2 in that it's an extension of Bitcoin. If you have the security and you can pay the fees in Bitcoin and you have that trustless connection, you're effectively an extension of the main Bitcoin network, and for the user, it doesn't feel very different. And so, for me, I think of B squared as something that could appeal to maxis. The sort of people that they want to stay as closely aligned to Bitcoin L1 as possible and don't want to get too crazy while also opening up their mind and their possibilities to new features. I think B squared is something that I think it has that unique connection, and that's why it stands out to me. That's just what I think about it.
Yeah, I agree, Andrew. And I guess with that, I wanted to actually like for our B squared listeners who might not know pretty much like what we're doing. So I just wanted to also like jump in and give you guys like just a quick like TLDR of like what Bitcoin OS is. So what we've actually done is we've built an operating system, kind of like Windows or iOS, but it's for Bitcoin. And the entire goal of this operating system is to essentially um, basically unite this like multi-chain fragmented ecosystem that we have and anchor them back into Bitcoin trustlessly. So we've built a bridge that's basically utilizing zero knowledge proof technology. And zero knowledge proof technology, for those of you that don't know, is it's basically cryptography. It's kind of like math. It's a very secure way of transactions basically being able to unfold. And and the main component here that's like important is that it's trustless, right? So what I mean by that is typically when you're bridging one from one ecosystem to another, like let's say you're bridging from like Bitcoin to Ethereum, you'll get what's called wrap Bitcoin, right? And so typically, that wrap Bitcoin, you're almost kind of like trading an IOU, because that Bitcoin that you're actually bridging from that network to another is actually sitting in a centralized vault that's basically being run on like a multi-sig or like some kind of like federation based understanding, right? So what I mean by that is typically somebody has the keys to that vault, right? It's completely centralized. So what we've done is we've built a trustless bridge that's powered utilizing zero knowledge proof technology. So you don't need to trust this centralized custodian. You can simply just trust the math to do all the work. And like I said earlier, like the entire goal for us is to unite this like fragmented multi-chain ecosystem we have and anchor it back into Bitcoin. And now that 1.9T that's been sitting dormant, for the last 15 years in Bitcoin, can now flow seamlessly into the entire Web3 ecosystem, and everybody could basically just get a piece of the cake, right? So yeah, our entire goal is just like unification. So we're very, very, very grateful to be partnered with projects like B Squared, of course. So I guess Phoenix, like, what would you say like were some like key factors in choosing our Grail bridge over integrating different kind of systems?
Yeah. So first of all, it's an honor to be partnered with BitcoinOS as well. So yeah, I guess I totally agree with what you just said. So we need and also math is math. So um, yeah, to answer this question, so I think from our end, it's like BitcoinOS plays a crucial role in the infrastructure of the Bitcoin ecosystem, because we need a trustless, fully decentralized bridge that will significantly enhance Bitcoin's liquidity, like you said. So it's like 1.9 T that's been sitting dormant. Desperately needs to um, needs to be poured into the Web3 space. So yeah, we're really looking forward to integrating Bitcoin OS to provide our users with a smoother and safer bridge solution. So one of the I totally agree that so because and also I would have to agree with what Andrew just said a bit earlier. So because the way in the process of us communicating with the whales or just regular Bitcoin holders, so they're all pretty scattered, so because just like any early stage technologies, right? So people are not totally understand what layer 2 is, so they're very skeptical. So except for the Bitcoin maxis. So the one thing that they will worry about most is that what bridges are we using, right? So because we know that something is if something happens, most of the time it's about it happens on the bridges. So we desperately need a decentralized and fully trusted bridge like Bitcoin OS. So I think it's gonna be a win-win situation. So again, so it's still in pretty early stages. So we need all the infrastructures, and then it's just very grateful to see project like Bitcoin OS being building the infrastructure that we all of the Bitcoin builders need.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. And to kind of piggyback off what you were saying, I think Harmony, I believe it was Harmony, had a bridge called, it was a Horizon bridge, and it was it actually like ran on like a multi-sig, like I had mentioned. So basically, there was like a multi-signature admin keys, right? And this, from my understanding, this basically like leaves like there's a lot of like there's a lot of like fraudulent activity that can actually take place when there's also like a multi-signature based like system kind of going on. And especially when they're using what's known as like the honest majority model, which is when 51% of like basically like node operators have to approve the transaction. So with us, what I actually really like think is like a key factor, like part of like our infrastructure here, is that we use the one of n trust assumption model, which basically means that out of 2 3 400 500 let's say like node operators verifiers, only one of them needs to basically say that this transaction is valid. Only one of them needs to be honest. We could have 299, 399 of them dishonest, but if we have one honest person, then from my understanding, and granted, guys, I'm non-technical. This is one of the most secure ways to. This is one of the best like security methods to integrate into a protocol. So, yeah, I'm very excited to kind of see all of this like come into fruition. B squared, we're actually, our testnet is launching here in the next like couple of days as well. So it'll be very interesting to see you guys get like actually integrated. But Andrew, you had your hand up, my friend.
Yeah, I think emphasizing the one event trust assumption model is a really, really big deal for adoption in a way that most people underestimate. So, right now, there are methods of bridging to other ecosystems. The most notable of these is called Wrapped Bitcoin, in which it's just a company. I think it's BitGo, and maybe I think Justin Sun, he's another key holder. It's basically just a small handful of companies who control a certain multi-signature wallet, where you send your Bitcoin to this multi-signature wallet, and then they mint out a new Bitcoin token. It's like a derivative of Bitcoin, and they mint it out on another chain. So in this case, you'll send them your Bitcoin, they'll hold it safely for you, and then they'll mint out another Bitcoin and send it to you on Ethereum. And so this is the largest Bitcoin bridge in existence right now. But it's also mired with controversy because if it's controlled by just this handful of companies, one person being Justin Sun, who a lot of people in the community struggle to trust Justin Sun, just the fact that it's all concentrated in the hands of just a few people, it it becomes difficult not just for retail to want to adopt that, but more particularly institutions to want to adopt that. And one of the core focuses of B squared network is wanting to scale institutional adoption of Bitcoin. And so if you can build a bridge that actually doesn't have those same trust assumptions, and it reduces the trust assumption to the point where you alone can keep your Bitcoin safe by running a boss node or verifying the security of the bridge, then that is a lot more inviting. And that is what gets the wealthiest players in the world and the most cautious and paranoid players in the world to say, okay, this system is safe enough for me to use. And so I'd like to piggyback off of that and transition the question over to B squared network and asking if we can get institutional grade Bitcoin scaling to really take off, and we have the biggest players coming into the decentralized financial world, what sort of applications do you think will take off? And what will the financial world look like at that point, say years down the line?
Yeah. So yeah. So actually in the course of building Bitcoin network, so we've been having multiple conversations with some of the institutional players, the big players, the real big players already. I mean, yeah. So the question that what that we encountered most is what kind of bridges you using, right? So and then I'm sure that with the testnet of and the integrations with Boss, so things will definitely change. And then like you said, so I mean these players they are really risk avert, right? So I don't think it's gonna take like month and years after years, of constantly business development to really convince them to to can like try out these new things. Yeah, but I do see that, but in the future, right? So I think Bitcoin is gonna be the future of money, and then I think one of the first let's say project that's gonna be thriving in the next 5 to 10 years. I think it's still gonna be DeFi or BTCfi. So I'm sure that some of the audience might already familiar with the Bitcoin staking, right? So you guys heard about project like Babylon, and then so basically just for us, this is like one of our focus as well. So we're really trying to working with other projects, trying to bring yield for the Bitcoin holders, so that and I mean that's the true way to unlock, let's say, the dormant liquidity, that dormant 1.9 T, right? Because for a long time, Bitcoin holders can only just hold on to their Bitcoin, never sell your Bitcoin, but not like Ethereum holders, they can generate yield on that. So BTCfi or the Bitcoin staking is something that I'm really bullish on for the next couple of years. And then, like I said, so with the trustless solutions like Boss, so I believe that it's just gonna take some time for the institutional players to fully embrace um, this new technology. But never been more bullish before, so let's go.
I love that, guys. And I love how forward thinking you guys and say our own team and just people in our little corner of the Bitcoin builder space are. Because I'll speak for myself. I come from, when I first got into Bitcoin, I came from maxi circles. As you can see in my profile picture, I still have my laser eyes. And there's a lot of people, say, in the Bitcoin world who they've kind of settled on the technology of Bitcoin and they're like, well, it's good enough, basically. Like it's going to be a store of value and that's kind of okay enough for them. And I mean, that's okay if that's all they want to do with their Bitcoin. But I have a theory that a lot of the same people who are saying that are going to say that Bitcoin doesn't need to be much more until they're introduced to it, until we have it, until they realize all of the new things that they can do with their Bitcoin. And I think it's useful to think about not about building Bitcoin in the sense of what it needs, but in the sense of opening up the possibilities and seeing what it can be. Because there really is no downside to this. I mean, if you're building layer two networks, you don't need to harm the stability of the base chain. And so this is where we can experiment and we can find things that we didn't really imagine before. And so my next question would be, um, you guys say you're able to scale Bitcoin, say, by orders of magnitude compared to its base layer throughput. And I'm wondering, based on that, first of all, exactly how much, if you guys have a rough calculation of that, how much faster and cheaper can you guys get Bitcoin to be? And what sort of applications do you think open up at that point? And how do you see Bitcoin adoption evolving when it's so much faster and so much cheaper than we imagined it could be at first?
Yeah, so I'll have to verify the exact stats, but as I remembered, I think for the average TPS for Bitcoin is about like 7, right? So for us, the Bitcoin Layer 2, the Bitcoin network, so our TPS, I'm sure reached over 100,000. Okay, so we're speaking about already like thousand or not 100,000 or not like million times faster than Bitcoin already. And then the gas fee is just really really cheap because last time I checked, I did a transaction, so it probably just the gas fee is just around like 0.0001 USDT value, right? So it's just gonna be almost negligible. It's not like something that you think about while integrating with our or while you play with our network. So yeah, so that's how much faster and how much cheap when we when comparing with the base layer one itself, right? And then and then why do we need a Bitcoin layer two? Is that when you think about the future, I mean, let's fast forward. I also, I'm also that type of person that really, like to do the fast forward thinking. So, if you fast forward like 10 years from now, and then you think about we're speaking about potentially, like over let's say 2/3 of the population on Earth, they might hope they might get access to bitcoins or crypto in general. But at that time, if you want to do a transaction, you think about if we don't scale up Bitcoin, so if the Bitcoin has been keeping its like TPS around 7, and then this it's gonna be a nightmare, right? And then so technology is like so for us, like technology, we're builders, right? We're working in the tech industry, so we're always trying to, build things before people realize that we need it, right? So, yeah. So, and then I'm think, I mean, so as I said, right? So, in the next 5 or 10 years, so when we finally reach the true mass adoptions, we have the most of the population on Earth are have access to Bitcoin, and then also a lot of the ecosystem thriving. So yeah, we definitely need a much more cheaper and faster way. And then we're also building and just become be keeping keep keep on try to just improving our user experience, and then trying to increase our TPS, and then constantly lower the gas fees. So yeah, so like I said, so it's a long journey, but B Square and BitcoinOS are the players in the space. So I'm super bullish.
Amazing. And I kind of wanted to piggyback off like what you guys were saying like previously, which is talking about like the future of Bitcoin, right? Like Bitcoin DeFi. And like, I just wanted to like touch base on that real quick and come at you guys like with an educational standpoint for our like listeners. Obviously a lot of you know that for the last 15 years, like Bitcoin is merely like this store of value and peer-to-peer payment system, right? It wasn't designed to be like a programmable blockchain with like smart contract functionality like Solana or Ethereum. So it's really going to be extremely exciting to see Bitcoin actually like evolve. I think a lot of people have like just kind of like what Andrew was saying is like people that have like not really necessarily like questioned it. They've just kind of been okay, like okay, I'll just move my my Bitcoin from wallet A to wallet B, trade, hold, buy, sell, whatever. So obviously with the BitcoinOS infrastructure, what this actually enables is any chain that integrates the BitcoinOS infrastructure actually enables smart contract functionality on Bitcoin, which is extremely just powerful, right? Like just the idea and concept of that is just mind-boggling, especially because like for the last 15 years Bitcoin has pretty much been dormant, but it's been incredible at securing its store of wealth, right? So it'll be very interesting, like over the course of the next couple of years, to be honest, to kind of see it evolve. And I do believe that this is going to be an extremely powerful narrative. Maybe not this cycle, but I definitely see this BTC Fi narrative really running the market the next cycle. But I guess my friend Phoenix, you mentioned you talked a little bit about BTCfi and like how you guys plan on bringing DeFi to Bitcoin, but are there any other opportunities you see there? Like, could you touch up on that a little bit more? Like, I guess like the question is, what opportunities do you see for DeFi on Bitcoin through the B Squared network?
Yeah, so there's a few that I like to talk about. So first of all, I mean, if you log in bsquare.network, our website, you will see that we're providing over dozens of different strategies to to generate yield on your stake Bitcoin, right? So um, basically, what we do is that of course with the integration with Boss, so it's gonna be bridge a lot of dormant Bitcoin will be bridged over to Bitcoin network through Boss. And then after that, so you got your wrapped version of Bitcoin. So what we call a B square Bitcoin, right? And then the B square Bitcoin will be yield bearing, so that you will be able to participate in all the awesome ecosystem project building on top of B square network. So such as one of them, one of the few is like Stake Stones, PAL, P Stake, DSync, Cygnus Finance. Just to name a few, right? So then through their protocols, you'll be able to also you stake your B square Bitcoin over, and then you'll be able to generate extra yield coming from their protocols as well. So we're talking about somewhere around like we're at least 8 to 10% APY on that. And then that's just it's just that normal Bitcoin staking part, right? And then of course we're also working so speaking of Bitcoin staking, so one of the largest player in the space, Babylon. So Bitcoin network is actually also the largest Bitcoin layer twos that holding the amount of Bitcoins for as the finality providers on Babylon, right? So those Bitcoin holders will also be able to get the points or yield from Babylon protocol as well. And then we're also exploring on other opportunities as well. So such as like a couple of weeks ago, I've been talking with another project So they're working on to build this like new platform so that the Bitcoin holders or the crypto holders will be able to, will be able to generate yield from the traditional hedge fund, right? So they basically build a marketplace that, so for example, for Bsquare, so you stage your after you, let's say, bridge your Bitcoin over to Bsquare, and then you can also you can also just choose one of the platform like I just mentioned a bit earlier, and then their platform will provide you a kind of like a market space for a traditional hedge fund. I mean, if you think about the normal folks, I mean the standard the minimum participation for hedge fund is like close to like 200,000, right? But that marketplace is kind of like just you can use your crypto, just it can be a Bitcoin or it can be USDT or Ethereum. So I think they support basically of all the mainstream assets, and then you can just choose like say which hedge fund that's gonna make you more money, right? But of course we're speaking about more risk, potentially more yield, entails more risk. But we're providing all the different, let's say, options for the users, right? So these are two ways to generate yield. And then also we're also working with like say more traditional like CityFi. So they're like so for example, so I don't know whether you guys are familiar with, let's say, custodians like Seafood or something like that. So then basically is that they stake your asset over, and then they will be able to, through either through it like the looping strategy or some, you know, um, quantitative strategies, you'll be able to also to generate yield on that as well. So yeah, so there's just like so many ways that you can play around, with your Bitcoins, like Andrew said, right? So not and also so kind of like speaking back to what you just said, so there's like so many ways that you can play with your bitcoins, but I do think it's gonna take some time to so because it's a pretty sharp a sharp educative curve, so it's gonna take some time to to achieve the true mass adoption. But yeah, so far these are a couple of very interesting ways that you can play with B Square or Bitcoin staking already. So you guys are interested, just stay tuned to our X handle or just check out bsquare.network.
Yes, definitely. Everybody go follow B Square Network because they are doing God's work for the Bitcoin ecosystem. That's very exciting, though. Staking, generating yields, like that's very exciting. Like you said, it's going to take a little while before like all the pieces kind of like puzzle together and kind of like come into fruition. But yeah, it's going to be very very exciting to see like the Bitcoin DeFi space evolve over the next couple of years. It's just gonna it's to me it's still just very mind-boggling because it's just been, again, just sitting dormant for the last 15 years, right? So yeah, it's gonna be very exciting to see that. I guess yep, Andrew, go ahead, you have your hand up.
B squared, I loved everything you guys said there, but there's one thing I think I might slightly disagree with, which is I don't think this is going to take many, many years, as you might suspect. So, because we're talking about how popular Bitcoin yield is, and the thing about it is that it's really as popular as you're saying. So, like, I can speak from experience as a journalist. I was a former journalist, and nothing got clicks and interest like articles about BTC yield or technologies about Bitcoin yield. And if there's one technology already that has achieved massive TVL and like massive interest by like any standard within the crypto space, in Bitcoin, it was Babylon so far. So and Babylon, what's the whole point of Babylon? The idea of Babylon is that you can stake your Bitcoin in order to secure Bitcoin L2 networks. And so this is like a really, really big deal. And it's also something that appeals to the institutional world as well, which is already beginning to view Bitcoin as a store of value asset. And if there's something they want to do with a store of value asset, if anything, it's to also produce yield on that asset. Nothing could appeal more to them than that. So we're going to see a combination of Bitcoin banking services, but also like DeFi level Bitcoin staking services that produce you yield. And when people realize that Bitcoin is now a yield generating asset, I believe that that pretty much kills one of the core criticisms that Bitcoin has received from both the crypto and the TradFi worlds, that it's a dead rock that does nothing and therefore it can't have any value. That, of course, isn't true, but now even that criticism is dead. And so uh, I think Bitcoin yield is a really big deal, and that people are going to rush into it once they realize that it actually is working. And I think the ETFs, they're probably the first step for that. So people are going to step in through like TradFi venues first. But when they realize that there's other avenues to get this, and like the institutional world gets more interested, I can't imagine why, just from a game theoretical perspective, they wouldn't ape into Bitcoin yields from all fronts. But yeah, Claire, you piggyback off that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like I do agree with you. I do agree with you. I think adoption of that is going to be a lot faster than we think. And I think like evidence to that could also be the fact that there's well over $16 billion worth of what wrap Bitcoin. So it's like I think that that kind of can possibly state that, there's a need for these types of things to take place. So I do agree with you that adoption of that will be a lot faster. But for me, I think where what I was saying in terms of like all the pieces, might take a little bit of time to kind of get together is more so just kind of like for the entire space, the BTCfi space to kind of like evolve and for um, kind of like all these projects to kind of come together and integrate together and for interoperability to take place. You know what I mean? That's kind of more so what I was leaning towards. But I definitely do agree with you that there's definitely like a high demand. So yeah, that's exciting. And Phoenix, I had one other question for you. So what's next on the roadmap for you guys? Like what do you guys have any information you guys would like to share with our community, with your community today?
Yeah, for sure. Well, actually, I do believe, I do agree with what you guys just said. So it looks like I'm the guy that being conservative here, right? So yeah, just, the quote, my co-sailor, never sell your Bitcoin. And also quote me, stake your Bitcoin as well. Okay. So there's like, tons of opportunities ahead. Yeah. So speaking of the roadmap, so I guess for now, our main focus right now is just to, keep growing our community, and also keep trying to onboard more retail users. And then also, that's from the, let's say, customer side, right? So, and then from the business side, and then just to keep working with fantastic project like Boss. And then also just been constantly talking with other builders as well. So I think one thing that I love about the Web3 culture, or the Bitcoin ecosystem, is that, so I think everybody's being pretty inclusive. I mean, the culture is all about inclusive, and then just all about working together. So because like just a while ago, so if you're speaking about, let's say, Bitcoin builders, it's still relatively minor, compared to Ethereum or Solana builders. But we do see that it's a shift, for that already. And then yeah, so and then just for the users, then we're just really keep trying to constantly improving our product, and then providing a more smoother user experience. And then yeah, so then from the business side, just keep trying to integrating with with other projects as well. And then also just just preparing for the future. So yeah, so it's gonna be, I think the 2025 is gonna be pretty exciting for all of us. And then also, so we're working really close to towards the TGE soon, but I can't it's not being disclosed yet. But yeah, we've been just really building hard, so building for over a year now. So yeah, just stay tuned for our official X handle. So we'll keep you guys updated.
Amazing, amazing. That's very exciting. And from a community standpoint, like kind of like what you said, right? I feel like a lot of those that are like building on the Bitcoin ecosystem are very inclusive. They kind of like want on interoperability. They kind of want to work together because we're genuinely like anyone that's building on this ecosystem, I feel like we're kind of like working towards the same goal in a sense. to kind of see like Bitcoin evolve, right? So I definitely agree with you that there's definitely a very like there's a level of inclusivity here with obviously, there's also you have the oddball over, of course, that doesn't want to be inclusive, that wants to be fragmented, but more so like on the general scale of things, I think that most everybody kind of like wants to like work together towards the same goal, right? To see Bitcoin evolve once again. So, yeah, from a community standpoint, if you like, we would love to collaborate further. We're always open to any kind of collaboration, to be honest, and I would love to talk to you guys further about that. But I want to actually share something with our listeners. So today's secret code, guys, today's secret code is B squared network. So you can write that as B2 network. And for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, we are running a campaign on Zeely. It's a sprint. And so what Zeely actually is it's a community building platform where you can do different tasks as a community, like let's say follow B Square on X, follow boss on X, and then through that you basically like generate a specific amount of points. You climb a leadership board. We're actually giving away $1,000 in USDC, split amongst 5 individuals on the top of the leadership board. So one of the tasks for today is to incorporate this secret code. So the secret code, once again, guys, is B squared network. So you can write that as B2 network. I just want to obviously incentivize you guys and just as a token of our appreciation for all of you showing up today. Um, but yeah, I just wanted to like plug that in during like a random part of the conversation, but I don't think it's going to be random now because we're probably kind of like coming to a close here. But Adam, the mic is yours, my friend. You came up as a speaker. If you have any questions, feel free to ask right now. Thank you so much. Adam, Earth to Adam. Hello. The mic is yours, my friend. Adam, are you there? If you have a question, the mic is yours. All right. Well, that's okay. That's okay. You were sending hearts earlier, so I know you're active. I see you. I see you. That's fine though. But yeah, I guess if anybody has any questions, feel free to hit that request. I actually, one of our friends, one of our community members here is coming up. Um, but yeah, if anybody else has any questions, please hit that request button. We're more than happy to bring you up. It could be a boss question, it could be a B square question, it could be a community question, it could be honestly anything. So, Intelligent, welcome, welcome. So good to see you. The mic is yours, my friend.
Um, Hello.
Hello.
Okay, so you can hear me. Sorry, I kind of joined this space a little bit late. I was quite busy, so I think I missed like a lot. Um, but I did get some parts of it. However, I do have a question for Phoenix. So I don't know if this has been talked about, but like I said, I missed a couple of things, so I'm just trying to play catch up. My first question would be, I'm just interested in knowing how B2 network reduces the risk of custodial bridging and smart contract vulnerabilities while still enabling secure yield generation for Bitcoin assets. And I guess my second question would be I'm trying to understand how the network handles Bitcoin bridging and yield generation while ensuring security and decentralization.
Yeah, so I'll try my best to answer my questions. Answer the questions. So, unfortunately, I'm not also coming from a technical background, but I can just try to answer the question to my knowledge. So, so Bitcoin network is EVM compatible. So yeah, so of course we can just execute all the smart contracts. So basically, we're using OP stack to build our own layer two. So the roll up layer. So which means that the building on Bitcoin network will be super easy. I mean, yeah. So if you're already familiar with building on Ethereum, so it shouldn't take too much time to integrate with Bitcoin. So then the second question is that so how do we provide if I heard you clearly if I got your question. So you're trying to ask something about like this, how do we provide more security, more decentralizations to the network, right? So yeah, so like I said, so our design is a little bit closer to Boss as well. So we also use zero knowledge purification to to kind of like make sure that the process is fully trustless, and then with that we also have decentralized nodes, right? So running by the third party, just validator, so that the validator part is also pretty decentralized, and then also like today, right? So we're partnering up with the Boss, so that through Boss decentralized and trustless bridge, so it's gonna just increase the overall security of Bitcoin network by that into another level. So yeah, so I hope that I answer your question correctly, because having a hard time trying to hear what you say, but yeah, so I did my best to answer the question.
That's okay.
Thank you very
I was going to say that Intelligent, if you still had questions later on, you already know, come to Discord. I got you. But operator, hello and welcome to the stage. The mic is
Thank
yours.
you for the microphone. My question for BitcoinOS, will there be plans for supporting runes integration
That's a good question. Hmm.
or any ordinals type of in? Because he said he's a BRC20 user, or like their system uses BRC20s, but my understanding is that there are different competing types, right? You got runes and ordinals to kind of
Right.
manage that, and BRCs require two on-chain transactions. So like what's with the BRC20 kind of usage? Can we use other things besides BRC20s?
Yeah,
Andrew, go ahead.
yeah, I can tackle that to my limited knowledge. So again, not the most technical guy on my team, but I have spoken with some members of the team on the subject. From the Boss side, the Boss Grail Bridge side, um, the Grail Bridge will likely not be able to support runes or BRC20 tokens, to my knowledge. It'll just support cold hard BTC. Now, as far as what the B squared network can support and what it handles and how it manages the bridging of such things, that's a different question. But Grail Bridge does not interact with runes or BRC20 tokens. However, we do have something coming down the pipeline, which is an entirely new way of thinking about tokens on Bitcoin and across all chains. And we're going to have more details on that later this month. And I have a feeling you guys are going to find this a lot more exciting than runes and BRC20s, which are already exciting on their own once we reveal it. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah, we actually like stumbled upon it randomly while developing. Well, not me, but our developers, of course. So yeah, it's going to be very, very exciting. It's going to be very interesting. So we're really looking forward to releasing that information in the coming months. But also, I wanted to clarify too that we do have a partnership coming up with a. It's obviously like well known at this point. We've kind of talked about it, but we've kind of just handshaked on it. We haven't like necessarily agreed on it, but with BFi Labs, as you guys know, some of you, we literally just hosted a space with them like a couple days ago, and that's kind of their realm of things. So if we can't necessarily like enable that, that's something that will be enabled through at least at the minimum, like through our partners. And I would also like to highlight that we are what would be considered an orchestrational layer, kind of like in middleware. We're not an L2, we're not a blockchain, we're not a layer zero. So I do want to specify that as well. We're an operating system. So sometimes a lot of people like think they try to categorize us in one of those categories, or, oh, are you guys layer one? Are you guys layer zero? Or are you guys layer twos? We're not either. We're not either. We're low key still trying to figure it out how to necessarily like identify ourselves. But the best way to identify ourselves would be, yes, we're like an excuse me, we're like an orchestrational layer. We're middleware. We're an operating system. So hopefully, operator, hopefully that
Right on.
answers your questions.
That's a very good clarification. I appreciate you volunteering all that information. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you for coming up. We really, really appreciate your question. All right, guys. Well, with that, it is Friday. I'm sure it is evening for some of you guys. It's it's obviously time for us to like wrap up here. And it is just so appreciated to see every one of you join the space today. I just want to give a quick shout out to like all our friends here. B squared Phoenix, thank you so much for being here again, my friend. It was genuinely such a nice, like positive, like unifying conversation. We absolutely need more of these taking place in the space. So it's always good to chat with our partners. Intelligent, thank you for coming up and speaking. Much love to you. Operator, likewise, thank you so much for coming up and speaking. John, shout out to you. Spoon, shout out to you, my favorite grid tech miner. Balia, good to see you, one of our OGs in the community. Soul Geek, so good to see you. Zenith, my boss, good to see you. Constant, fantastic to see you. Precious, David, Jason. Also, if we could just get some hearts in the chat right now for Jason, our newest Nigerian moderator. Shout out to you, Jason. You are fantastic. We absolutely love you. You are such a powerful advocate for us, and we really genuinely appreciate your love and your advocacy for us. Yes, love all the hearts right now. Thank you guys so much for showing love. Gideon, so good to see you. Blockchain Money always coming in with the solid summaries of these spaces. Good to see you. Scrypt, Floating, Ham, good to see you. We got the Sovereign team here. Amazing to see you. Another one of our partners, of course. That Web3 girly, fantastic to see you. Anita, BB Star, operator, once again, good to have you. Dung, good to have you, my friend. Thank you for chiming in. I know you're from Grid Tech. Salem and Raymond, Drew, some of you guys have been here since the start of the AMA. So once again, just shout out to all of you for empowering yourselves with knowledge and information. As always, guys, we would absolutely love to have you guys join our Discord if you haven't already. And please do the same for B Squared as well. Please show them some love. They're doing amazing work for the entire Bitcoin ecosystem. And we're working very closely together with them. So we would absolutely love to see some of our community members in their community as well. We got to share that love. We got to cross pollinate. That's what this space is all about. We're all building towards like that same goal. So once again, shout out to all of you. Thank you so much for being here. Phoenix, thank you so much again. Andrew, also shout out to my co-host, man. Shout out to my co-host, the best co-host around. Couldn't have done it without you, my friend. But all right, guys, have a bullish weekend. Have an amazing weekend. I hope you guys relax. I hope you enjoy yourselves. Take care.
Stay boss, folks.
Thanks for having me, guys, and thank you, Ed, Claire, and Andrew for hosting such a great Twitter space. I've learned so much. So looking forward to our next talk. And stay bullish. Never sell your Bitcoin. Stake your Bitcoin.
Yes. Stay bullish, guys. Long Bitcoin. We're in it for the long run.